Amen. Thanks, Kate. Let's give it up for Kate. Just feeling all the feelings. So glad to be here with you today. You are mighty people. It's Michigan. Come on. I'm serious. Can we got to get back to our roots here. This is how it normally is, and I'm so glad you're here. And I'm so glad some of you are online and the option that we have with that. How many of you had a good Thanksgiving? How many of you had a stressful Thanksgiving? Hey, nobody wants to come. Some of you did, right? Uncle Fred came. And he said all the things you were afraid he was going to say. And he did some of the things you were afraid he was going to do. You're like, what do we do with this guy? We're going to be celebrating a good and beautiful practice of Jesus. As soon as you hear it, you're going to go, hey, man, you should have did this a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I was supposed to, but it didn't happen. But we need it for I'm getting you ready for the big game on Christmas. So couple Thanksgiving jokes, because I know you're dying for them. What do you call a turkey that limps? Or what does a turkey that limps say? Wobble, wobble. Knock, knock. Arthur. Arthur, any Thanksgiving leftovers? You can take those home, do with them what you will. You're like, this is what I come here for, real people. Those weren't very funny. Yeah, go put that on the comment card. This will be the first time you filled it out, right? Like, not funny, joking. I'm not joking. This is my real personality. I'm really glad you're here, and we're going to have some fun today. We're going to be in God's Word in a deep and beautiful way. And whether you are new to exploring Jesus or you've been following Jesus for a long time, I'm hoping you're going to see some things that are brand new and striking and relevant for your life and for my life. And so, but I want to start off. Is this a safe place? Are we a safe place here? Is this safe? Yeah. Okay, can I confess something? Yeah. We've got to be confessional. We got to go places like that. Years ago, I took a role as a leader in a ministry that was over the U.S. and Canada, and there were multiple regional leaders who I was tasked with serving and supporting as in this role. And I had one leader who kind of blew up a number of things. So this person was part-time, bitter, had a lot of conflict and division, and being canceled. This guy was canceled. Okay, and so I began my ministry going, okay, I'm not going to step on that landmine. I'm going to kind of keep you out here, and so I'm just going to avoid you because it's going to just get messy, and I'm going to get part of the burn or fallout from your drama and trauma. But you're like, well, that's not very Christian. I thought it was wisdom. Those are the words we use when we don't sometimes do things with, we try. Anyway, but the Lord convicted me and really convicted me about, you were an outsider. There's no reason you should be in my family. There's no reason you should experience my grace and love. You go show up for that person. And I felt like if you read the New Testament, you're going to learn, you read about a guy named Ananias. He was told to go visit another troublemaker named Paul. And what did he say? I don't want to go. This guy, no, Lord. So I was like Ananias, okay? But the Lord convicted me, and I'm just telling you the truth. This was real people, right? And I went, and I said, hey, I'm going to come visit you. I'd like to go out to dinner and just connect and get to know each other a little bit and hear your story. And we had a meal that was anointed by God. And it was the first of many meals. It was a beginning, not an ending. But we sat down at the table. I said, just tell me your story. I know there's a lot of stuff going on here. And he just began to share his whole life and all the heartache and things, that he felt like he was poorly treated for. Other things that he said, yeah, I blew up. I did that poorly. And And that time at the table opened a door for a relationship with a person who is still one of my close friends today. And who, by their own confession, would say, it was like God lanced a pus-filled wound in my soul. And it just kind of leaked out. He said, I feel like I experienced so much healing from God in that time. And today, he is leading a really fruitful ministry, a church, and doing great work for God. And it's a beautiful thing. He went from being an outsider to an insider. And you go, awesome, right? It wasn't me. I didn't even want to go. But I knew I should go. But what the Lord taught me is it's not about you. Yeah. So can you just tell the person next to you, hey, it's not about you. You know what? If that feels diminishing, don't let it be. It's what it is meant to be is liberating. It's about what God can do through you if we will obey him. Because it's really about our faith in God, not about our own skill set. And that day, that was a transformative day. I think about that. But it all started with one simple dinner invitation. Invited him to a table where we could break bread and get to know each other and talk. In the Gospel of Luke, we're going to be looking at this today. I'm going to give you a couple of nice little neat, interesting things. Jesus uses the table, the dinner table, over and over again to reveal who he is and what his kingdom is like. One Lucan scholar said this, in Luke's gospel, Jesus is either going to a meal, at a meal, or coming from a meal. He's eating all the time. And for those of you who love to eat, this could be like, you're like, I never knew what my gift was. Now I know. I mean, God has anointed me to eat well. Praise God. See, for Jesus, the table isn't a prop. It isn't a piece of furniture. It's a mission strategy. Literally, it is a door. And so I'm going to do this, and we'll hopefully not break anything. This is all live, so there's no... So the table in Jesus' ministry is a door. Now look, isn't that great? You see, that's the setting. This is the doorknob. I made this morning. And does that look good? Can you tell it's a door? The table is the door in Jesus' ministry. And you're like, what? This is Jesus. Jesus uses the table, and it's a doorway to invite people into friendship, to belonging, from outsiders becoming insiders, to forgiveness, and to transformation. And we need to get this, because one of the interesting things, and I'm not going to read the statistics here, but you are all probably familiar with this. Why does this matter? Loneliness is at record high levels. In our culture, in our world. You go, why is that? I'll tell you one thing. When I was a kid, people ate around their tables a whole lot more. It has become a rare thing. And so 3 things I will tell you, and you can trust me on this. If you and I learn to do what Jesus does at the table, if we did this as a church, loneliness would decrease. Your sense of connection would increase. I was just talking with a friend about getting a meal today, because you know what happens at the table? Connection happens at the table. You go deeper with people, and your life will increase. Your life will increase. These are all benefits to you. You go, well, how's that? How many of you want Jesus said, you know what's our church name again? Oh, yeah. Jesus said, I have come that you might have what? Life. And have it to the full. And here's the problem. You see, one of the things that we do, if we want the full life that Jesus had, we have to do the things that Jesus did. Yeah. And we often, this is one of the great sins of our age. Too many churchgoers, we know the words of Jesus, but we don't follow the ways of Jesus. And so we're missing out on the life of Jesus. How many of you want a half life? I'd say, yeah, I just want to have a half. I want to half life. No. But we have to then do the things that Jesus did. And this is one of the things that will nourish our souls, and it will bless everyone around us. And we're going to watch Jesus do this in a really powerful way. So Luke 19, look, I booted up my Bible. I booted up right away, and it was cool. Hey, no way. You guys are the best, by the way. I'm not. I feel pain. Some of the hardest working people at church, you don't see them. They're just working behind the scenes. And when something like this, when it's tricky, it's hard. Thank you for what you do. Okay, so we're going to see Jesus do this thing, and I want you to pay attention. You're going to go, oh, I think I know this story. You don't know this story. Tell the person next to you, you don't know this story like you think you do. Just tell them. Nick, you don't know this story like you think you do. Okay, here we go. All right, now, we're going to go a little bit of, we're going to go with multiple learning styles here. So every time I say Jesus, just clap and go, yay. Not real loud, all right? Every time I say tax collector, go boo, hiss. Boo, hiss. Can you do that? All right, okay. There you go. This will help you stay focused, all right? Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man there by the name of Zacchaeus. I didn't, not that. Good job, though. You're eager. We're not booing him, but his role is the thing, right? He was a chief tax collector. Thank you. That was so really robust and filling. Chief tax collector, think about the worst thing you know. You go, imagine someone selling drugs on your street or someone being able to just walk up to your house and rob you whenever they want. That's what a chief tax collector was, okay? Yeah, okay, thank you. You guys are nailing this in ways I didn't anticipate. He was that role and was wealthy. And there's nothing, okay, this guy's got some things going on here for him. He wanted to see Jesus. Now, and you see where it says wanted to see? There's a thing here called bracketing. It's used often in the New Testament. So that idea of seeking, see where you see that word show up again. He was seeking to see Jesus. That's what it literally says. Yay! I love you, Jesus. All right? But being a short man, he could not because of the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree. Why? To see him, since Jesus was coming his way. So, Zacchaeus. Not yet. What is he? He's curious, but he's distant, right? He's wealthy, but empty. Hey, this is sounding more like America all the time. He's powerful, but despised because he's viewed as a traitor. The chief tax collector was the worst. Yes, if you think about fill in the blank, you think about a terrorist. You think about someone who owns a neighborhood and can deal drugs and shoot things up. This is the role he was in. He was a traitor to his own people because to make money, he would collect taxes for the occupying enemy, the Roman government, and then he made his money by stealing on top of that from all his people, okay? You're going to feel some feelings about him, all right? So he climbs a tree not to observe, but not to participate, right? So we're going to keep looking. This tax collector guy is a bad dude. But the truth is, we all got junk, right? And just like Zacchaeus, we got some brokenness and stuff. But many people in this room, online, in our world, they are spiritually curious, but relationally cautious. This is what he's doing. He's trying to watch from a distance. Doesn't want to get too involved. He knows he's hated. And people all around us are watching from a distance. And they're waiting for someone to see them. To see them. See how often the word see is in this passage. Do you feel seen, right? To see them and wait for an invitation. So what does Jesus do? Jesus opens the door. When Jesus Reached the spot, he looked up and he sees him. And he said to him, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. What does Jesus do? He stops. Yay. And sees him. And he calls him by name. Hey, what's your name? Jesus knows your name. And one of the, and even though no one else may see, you need to know this morning, Jesus knows your name. And that's worth cheering about. And he knows your burdens. And he sees you. And you all look really good. Pretty good. I know some of you were shoveling snow. You look good, you know. But we're all carrying junk, aren't we? You came in here with a bunch of burden in your backpack. You're thinking about it. You know, it's weighing you down. Jesus knows, and he's here for you today. I must stay at your house today. So what's the problem? Jesus is going to cross this huge cultural barrier. Yes, that's right. So what does that mean? He's saying, let's sit. Let's talk. Let's eat together. I want to get to know you, and I want you to come and know me better. And he takes away, because there's no way that chief tax collector is ever going to sit at the table with Jesus unless Jesus just knocks the wall down. See, he says, I have to stay there. It's like, and feel Jesus' urgency for him. Do you feel this? He loves this guy. He loves this guy. You're like, how can he? He's such a bad dude. Well, we're all bad. We all fall short of the glory of God. And Jesus is going to build a bridge here. I got a quote from Tim Keller. I want you to hear this. It's not on the screen, I don't think, but that's on me, not them. Jesus doesn't demand for fellowship. He gives fellowship, and it leads to repentance. Worth thinking about. It means he reaches out and loves people regardless of how they're behaving or how they're acting, because guess what? We're all messed up. And only when Jesus brings his love and his life and his goodness to this person is there going to be any hope for a change. So Jesus invites him to his house and says, I accept you. I want a relationship with you. I want to offer you friendship, because that's what was literally said when he said, I must stay at your house today. We're going to have table fellowship together. I'm going to be your guest. And we're going to see what that means in a minute. But what does Zacchaeus have to do? He has to respond. He has to say yes. He has to say yes. Jesus is calling you today. That's good news. And have you said yes? Have you said yes? Because every good thing that's going to happen for Zacchaeus is going to happen because he said yes to Jesus' invitation here. And so he responds immediately, invites him to his table to share food and life. And let me tell you something beautiful here this morning. Jesus meets us where we are, not where we should be. Because we're never going to be where we should be, especially without him. Right? You're like, oh, I should be here. Oh, I should be there. Oh, just like, I meet you where you are. I'm going to come to you. How about I come to you? And that's good news for us this morning. So at this moment, what are we going to see? We're going to look and see what happens here. But Zacchaeus' home becomes a doorway. This table becomes a doorway, a place where this outsider could finally belong and become an insider, become someone who's connected. But like all things, it doesn't just go easy, right? You're like, oh, this should just go easy. Nothing in life goes easy. I catch myself in my own immature thinking. Whenever we are going down that pathway, there's going to be opposition. We talked about the world, the flesh, and the devil, right? We talked about satanic spiritual warfare. The world is going to get in our way. Our own flesh is going to get in our way, and the devil is definitely going to try to get in our way. So what happens? The crowd tries to close the door. They're like, what are you doing? All the people saw this and began to mutter, he has gone to be the guest of a what? Sinner. Well, that's no doubt, right? This guy's the worst guy in their culture. He's going to be the guest of a sinner. In fact, one biblical scholar on the gospel, Luke, said you could argue that Jesus got killed because of who he ate with. You look at how frequently that comes up in the gospel of Luke. He's gone to be the guest of a sinner. He's eating and drinking with sinners. Jesus came eating and drinking, connecting with people. And you're like, well, why is that the deal? Because during Jesus' time, and it's still actually, this is a real thing for us, the table was a boundary marker. Okay? Only certain people could sit at your table. We only eat with people like us. We only eat with people who think like us. And in the Jewish culture, it meant you should only eat with other Jews who are in good standing with God and not in a place of sin. Never with sinners. But here we see Jesus flips the script on this story. Jesus says, I love eating with people who are like me. I love eating with sisters and brothers who are following God with all their heart. But even more so, I want to eat with people who are different from me so I can invite them into my family. Because I love them. Not because of what they've done, because we've all done the wrong thing. I love you for who you are. I knit you together for you, and it's good, and he wants to live this agenda out. William Barclay is one of my favorite commentators. I like just always love what he says. But listen, read this line with me. They could not forgive Jesus, this is his quote, for extending friendship to a man they had labeled beyond redemption. They prefer boundaries to bridges, right? We live in a culture, a lot of boundaries, don't we? And high walls to open doors. This is how they live. Jesus risks his reputation to go extend the love and grace of God to this person. Who's beyond redemption in your circle? Who's a person who's on the outside in your world? I want you to think about that. Who's someone you're like, yeah, I'm not going to invite them to the table? No. And it might be a family member. You know, we're estranged from family members, all these other things. Political ideologies, we're estranged from people left and right. For Jesus, holiness isn't about isolation. It's about incarnation. You're like, wow, that's a lot of big words. What does that mean? Some people think holiness means I don't go near anybody who's bad. Well, guess what? You're going to have a hard time living with yourself. Well, just a thought. Just think about it. But anyway, but incarnation means Jesus is going, the power of God's love, purity, his light, his goodness, his grace is greater than any evil that he comes in contact with. So Jesus doesn't touch people and get sick, taking in their sin or their brokenness or their sickness. He touches people and they get well. He loves people and they become loving. He brings his full, gracious presence to every interaction he has. And this is what it means for us. Incarnation is we have the welcoming grace and love of God that he had toward us. That's what it means. We act toward other people like Jesus acted toward us. So what happens here? Jesus knocks this wall down, and he's getting a bunch of people mad because for the Jewish leaders, the table was a wall, not a door. And, you know, and he knocks that down, and Zacchaeus experiences the love and grace and goodness of Jesus. And look what happens. Jesus' time at the table transforms Zacchaeus' heart. It says, but Zacchaeus stood up from the table and said to the Lord, look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. Jesus said to him, today salvation has come to this house. Because this man, here, I want you all to say that short little preposition, right? Because this man, too. You're like, what's up with that? Circle that in your Bible. Jesus just knocked down the barrier between Zacchaeus and every other faithful follower. He's an insider. This man, too, is the son of Abraham. Now, what does that mean? Well, how is Abraham how did Abraham was credited to him as righteousness? Why did God view him as righteous, right with God? Faith. That's what a son of Abraham is. Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteous. That means God saw him as righteous. His faith made him right with God because he was trusting God for salvation, for cleansing, for every good thing. And Jesus is saying, Zacchaeus has put his faith in God. Zacchaeus has put his faith in me. That's what it means to be a son of Abraham. Because what we'll look here in a minute, it'd be easy to go, well, he just did all these good works, and so God said he's good now. That's not what happened. We're going to see it in just a minute. For the Son of Man came, and this is the big punchline, okay? Let's all read this out loud because many people know this line, and we're going to hopefully see it with new eyes. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. And we're going to come back to that last line. So Zacchaeus stands up and he announces that he is voluntarily and radically repenting. Half his possessions to the poor. Imagine cutting a check today, whatever you've got in your bank account and your investments and savings, and go, yeah, half of that's gone. I'm giving it to the poor. Wow. That's generosity, right? And fourfold restitution. He's going to give 4 times the amount. Imagine that the IRS gets a hold of you and goes, man, you know what? You're not going to believe what we did last year to you. We took $15,000 we weren't supposed to have. But today's your lucky day. We're going to give you 60 back. Hallelujah. You're going to, woo! Right? What happened here? Well, the God of Zacchaeus' life was greed. It's showing the power of this idol of greed was broken. Power was an idol, and he's broken that. He's given away. These acts of Zacchaeus are not the root of his salvation. They're the fruit of his salvation. It's what he does in response to the good gift of God. He's not earning his salvation. He's living out of the new goodness that Jesus is Lord of his life, and these things now have gone from being the gods and idols of his life to their proper place underneath the lordship of Jesus. So he has this radical transformation. Now let me ask you a question. Where did this come from? Did this happen in the synagogue? We're full contact again, okay? Did this happen in the synagogue? From the text, can we discern that did this happen from a sermon? Where did it happen? At a table. At the table. And over again, we see Jesus doing this. Zacchaeus isn't transformed in a synagogue or through a sermon, and that doesn't mean those things don't matter, but at his own dinner table. And he experiences this incredible transformation where he experiences belonging and forgiveness and transformation. And that belonging is this man too. What Jesus is saying is, I fully reckon him as full of faith and an inside follower of the Lord our God as Abraham himself, who is, he is the number one hero of the Jewish people. Wait, what? Him too? Yeah, he's all the way in. He's all the way. He's not an outsider anymore. He's become an insider. He's with me. He's my family now. And that's pretty beautiful. Listen to this quote from John Mark Comer. Hospitality is not entertainment. It is mission. When we welcome people to our table, we embody the heart of God who welcomed us. That's what we do. We try to love people. In the Gospel of Luke, for Jesus, the table is the door to friendship and belonging, forgiveness and transformation. And he's modeling this for us. So what was Jesus' mission? To seek and save what? The lost. Now, a lot of people, what does it mean to be lost? If I say, oh, but the lost are gonna, what? Burn in eternal fires, hell fires. That's where the lost go. Sons of perdition. This is how the church has views lost. Guess what? Tell the person that's not right. Tell the person next to you, that's not right. Okay, now, I'm not going to go way down this road. 2 seconds here, though. You go back. This is Luke 19. Go back. Ding, 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 ding. Luke 15 is all about the lost sheep and the lost coin and the lost son. Jesus actually interprets lostness in the gospel. So if we've been tracking the story, we're like, oh, wow. He's come to seek and save the lost. What does lost mean? Let me tell you 2 words, and I would write these down. They're really important. Value and belonging. It means, okay, so if you go looking for something lost, right? Okay, I'm driving down 96. I'm piling along. I'm trying to stay on the speed limit, but I'm just, I got traffic going with me, right? And ever have a candy wrapper or something like that fly out the window, your little McDonald's bag, right? How many of you felt bad about that? Now, I'm not going to ask because someone might be, but nobody went back to stop their car and get that bag. You just said something like I say, like, when I get to the parking lot that I'm going to pick up a piece of trash. We're going to trade. Okay, right? Why? You just lost it. Why didn't you go get it? No value. And you don't care if you live life without that wrapper. Right? But here we go. You're piling down 96 in. You open that window. Now, you just happen to have your entire life savings and retirement fund sitting on the passenger seat of your car, a bag of money, $1 million. Okay, good job saving, by the way. You power down that window, and all of a sudden that cross breeze comes in. Boom! There goes that $1 million. What are you going to do now? The cars are piling up. You're like, sorry, Mrs. McGillicuddy. You're cutting over there. You're going to run down, grab that bag. You're like, that's my whole life. This depends on this for the future. You're like, yeah. Why did you go get it? And where does it belong? It's yours. Now you're like, well, you're talking about money. Now, let's 100x this. Okay, Jesus is saying, yeah, you know what loss means in the Bible? Something that has a place that is misplaced. You belong with me, but you're not with me. And I won't rest till you're back with me. You belong. And you are so important to me that I will do whatever it takes to get you back with me. I'm going to seek you. I'm going to smash that car. I'm going to cut across that road. I'm not just going to I hope I stumble across Luke or Darla or whoever. I'm coming for you because you are so important to me. That's what Jesus means when he says seek and save the lost. And how does he do it? That's his mission, to seek and save the lost. He just showed us. See, we read this and we go, oh, there's the punchline where Jesus came to seek and save the lost. And we miss the context. This is how we do it. Remember that song? This is how we do it. You guys know? You remember that? Okay, let's try one time. I'll say this is how, and you say we do it. This is how. This is how we do it. We go and invite people to dinner. We love on them. We care for them. And we expect God to show up. Jesus is not just showing us the mission. He's showing us, he's incarnating the method. To seek and save the lost. And what's the method? It's as simple as an invitation to dinner. And what would happen if we did this more? Now, I'm not going to go into this whole deal here, but you're going to see on the table pattern of Jesus here. I just highlighted a couple things for you there. And you can see that. You can take a picture of it. I think it's up there. One more down, maybe. There you go. So if you go, I want to see some of these. So every table in these interactions with Jesus becomes a doorway. Outsiders walked through the door and found friendship and belonging. Sinners walked through the door and found forgiveness in every one of these. Hurting people walked through the door and found healing. Dead hearts, half-empty hearts, walked through the door and found life. The followers of Jesus, we need to learn to follow his example. We need to become people who don't just know his mission, we know his method. So how do we begin? Let me give you 3 things here as we wrap up. First thing is this: invite Jesus to your table. Now, I'm going to read a verse that you may be familiar with. Have you welcomed him into your house? There's a famous verse, and we think about it all the time in Revelation 3:20. Hey, keep the door closed right now. I'm going to open it in a minute. Jesus says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone opens the door, what's he going to do? Yeah, but he's going to eat a meal with you because that's the consummate sign of friendship. Who do you eat the big meals with? My family. The table is the family table. We celebrate this thing we call communion. It's the Lord's table. It's the family table. This is what it means to be all the way in my family. We eat together. We do life together. I'm going to come in and eat with you. Have you invited Jesus into your house, into your life? And the second thing is this: use your table as a door. Now you're like, hey, I could have used this on Thursday. I know. But the table is the place when we do it right. And what does Jesus do? We sit down. We slow down. We open up and we share. And there's a way to do that. And we're in a season of tables. So you got some coming up. You got holiday parties, work parties, people at work. You got Christmas, all these opportunities. Take it as an opportunity to invite someone to the table and be truly present with them. So let me give you four quick little ditties that you can do here. First thing is this. Pray and ask Jesus to bless this person you're inviting to the table. Lord, I pray that you'd work in their life. In fact, I want everybody to think of one person who's an outsider. And right now, as you're thinking about all this, you're going, man, I think I should probably reach out to this person. Right? Everybody got somebody? If you don't, okay. Pray that God would bless them. And pray that Jesus would be present at the table with you. And then be ready to listen more than you talk. The church has done a bad job of this. You know, the goal is connection, not performance. We don't want to be those people. Let me just tell you something about your next Christmas meal. Uncle Fred is going to say things he shouldn't say, and he's going to act out. You're not changing anybody's you're not going to change the way anybody thinks, and you're not going to change it the way anybody behaves. Be free of that. That's half your anxiety. Just go, how do I love Uncle Fred in the midst of this? And how do I learn to connect with him? And so the third thing is let the guests lead. And I'm going to give you some tips there. Do we have that slide somewhere? I think we got it somewhere up there. And this means when you start talking to someone, if they're getting interested in something, get to know them. The goal is to connect and be present with people. We're too busy running around, our heads on a swivel, instead of just going, hey, I'm here. I want to hear you. I want to get to know you. And then you adjust to the guest's comfort level up or down. So some people want to go deep, you go deep. Some people want to keep it light, you keep it light. And so you go, yeah, but I wouldn't even know what to talk about. How about things like this? What's making you laugh lately? Is anything funny, fun in your life, joyful? Yeah, I'm watching this stupid show, blah, blah, blah. Ah. Or what's bringing you joy? What are you hoping for in this season of your life? I think we have a question thing there too. What are you looking forward to this next year? What's exciting you? Ask more questions than you answer. Now, you want to share. You want the ball to go back and forth. What are you thankful for? How are you learning? What are you learning? Marcia was doing the thing with, what was the blanket club? Chunky blanket. All into that. Oh, I'm loving my little chunky blanket. I'm doing, what? Yeah, anyway. It was cool. How you growing? What's hard? How can I pray for you? You don't push that, okay? And then here's the deal. Expect transformation. The reason we get anxious is we're trying to make a result happen. If we just love people and expect Jesus to make a result happen, you will be a much better person to be with. And you want to be that person. We all long to have that meaningful connection. But you go, Lord, I'm expecting you to show up. I'm not going to try to force this. I'm genuinely want to be interested in this person. That's the whole key. You're not trying to go, oh, I want to do this. It's like I want to have someone come to Christ because it's a thing that I made happen or whatever. You're just trying to love people and keep in step with the Spirit, and God will show up. I've seen it over and over again.